I'm going to go over here for 1 second. Hi. I don't ever ask what the music is going to be. I don't know, because then I get to be surprised and it's an extra layer of joy for me. So this was a surprise, but dig these lyrics that McLean just sang. Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. That's profound as it is. Welcome to your life. You know, you're here. And what are you going to do with it? That's a big question for any thinking person. And a great deal of the time, we will find ourselves in situations where we jump to another lyric here. And it says, I cannot stand this indecision, married with a lack of vision. A lot of us find ourselves living lives like that. But we are indecisive because there's no vision that we adopted personally. There are visions that are cast for us. There are worldviews that are given to us through our family and our culture. But what the great privilege and burden of being a human being is that you get to make it up. You get to decide what it is that you really want to do. Now, a lot of us don't have a framework that provides us with any guidance on how to do that skillfully and ethically. And that's what New Thought philosophy does. That's what the science of mind offers. A framework to create a vision for yourself. Now, if that includes ruling the world, I don't know. That hasn't worked out for anybody, actually, who wanted to rule the whole world. That seems to be a self-limiting proposition, so I guess I would advise you not to want to rule the whole world. From Alexander the Great on, it just hasn't worked out. But other than that, what do you want to do with your particular life? And you really do get to do it. And in reality, there's no one that's going to pull the rug out from underneath you. Now, I know that I spent the first half of my life being told that, yes, isn't it great that you can do whatever you want, but clearly expecting the rug to be pulled out from underneath me. In one way or another. Not that something was necessarily too good to be true, but I guess, in retrospect, I really did not believe that I could create a life that would be sustainable. Something that I could carry with me my whole life long. A direction that I could go. I just didn't get it until I came to this teaching. For the next couple of weeks, I want to base my talks on this book, which is the collected essays of Robert Bitzer. Robert Bitzer was a second-generation New Thought preacher, teacher. He started the first religious science church in America. It was chartered in 1930. The personal invitation of Ernest Holmes, he moved from Boston to Los Angeles and met at the Hotel Roosevelt for a couple of decades and then built that building right next door, which is now a restaurant, but that was the Hollywood Church of Religious Science. And he was a clear thinker and taught principle. For those of you that might be fairly new, this might be new information. For those of you that have been around the teaching for 20, 40, 50, 60 years, you've heard this before, and it is worth revisiting always worth revisiting. This is a terrific book, if only for the introduction, where Dr. Bitzer talks about some things relative to the history of the New Thought movement, which I was unaware of. But where I want to begin this series is on the very first essay, and they're all very short. They're all only a page or two. And he explains what we have found to be true in contemporary American vernacular. This is not different than what the Buddha discovered 2,500 years ago. And it is not different than the wisdom teachings of Jesus. But it is a contemporary American expression of it, this perennial philosophy. And the basic idea is that whatever you give your attention to, you should be prepared to expect to experience. Whether it is in your conscious mind or not. In the 19th century, it was pretty well accepted that there were two phases of mind, what we call mind, consciousness. And one was conscious awareness and one was subconscious, unconscious. It doesn't really matter that much what you call it. But that there was some other aspect of our awareness that was very, very powerful. Why is it powerful? Because it is creative. That is its only function. And the teachings, again, of Jesus or the Buddha or any of the people, the avatars, are all the same. What you think you become. Well, I think I'm pretty terrific. Then what's your problem? Yes, I'm entitled to a world full of ease and joy and luxury and great money. Yes, you are. Isn't that fantastic? Why aren't you experiencing it? Because the greater portion of your belief system does not believe it and is waiting for the rug to be pulled out from underneath it. And why would that be true? Why would there be that kind of expectation? Because we watch the news. Because we're aware of history. Because we have fear. And that's really what is creating our lives for most of the people on the planet. Our lives are being created by what we're not really that aware of, but we truly believe, what we really expect. Life is very different. The conversation is different now than it was even in 30 years ago. It's cynical, but in a different way. And yet there's another part of the conversation that is very hopeful, that is very uplifting, and this is good because we've got Oprah and Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer and Facebook and all kinds of things. We have a torrent of messages that do come at us, which are very nice and very uplifting. And sometimes even I think if I see one more religious science minister posting on Facebook about how fabulous their life is, I'm going to poke them in the eye. I'd get so tired. It seems to trivialize it for me. But what is it that you really want to do with your life, you know? This is always the question. Well, what I'd really like to do, well, you can. You can. And so why aren't you, meaning all of humanity? Why aren't we experiencing that? Well, because we've got a story, we've got a history. Well, you don't know how hard my life is. You don't know what the responsibilities are that I have. You don't know what I'm going through right now. Well, you know what? We're all human beings. Yeah, we get it. We do get it. in Dreamgirls, there's a lot of great stuff in the musical Dreamgirls, but Effie is complaining at one point that she's not feeling well and things are so hard. And one of the other characters, I don't remember the name of the guy, but he says, Effie, we all got pain. Nobody's special in their pain. We all have pain. But what we get to do is something about it. We can heal that pain. And this is a healing work. Healing being broken open to the possibilities of life without any fear of having that rug pulled out from underneath you. Healing is revealing that which you were afraid to speak into, afraid to ask for or to declare about yourself. Healing is fully accepting at depth that what you are is inherently worthy, and what you choose to do, as long as it serves your health and wholeness and does not diminish the experience of others, is a noble undertaking. Literally, and this is what separated the New Thought from Christian Science, practice that whatever desire on your heart is the divine asking to come into this world by means of your life. That's a big responsibility. Well, some of us may say, well, that sounds great to me, but I really don't know what I want to do. And I bet you a nickel that you do know. Because the simple question is what if you had $10 million, what'd you do? Oh, well, that's different. But that opens the answer to you. What about that do you find attractive? What about that answer, if you had $10 million? What about it do you want to experience? How can you take one step in that direction today? It's not that scary. And it is simple. Now, Dr. Bitzer, in this particular essay, Basic Science of Mind, he says, science is the revelation of principles and laws that govern the universe. Okay, I'm fine with that. Everyone on that page with me? Okay. You may not know why they work in certain ways, but you know that they do. Okay. And that these laws, as he goes on to write, are no respecter of persons. That would be from Acts of the Apostles. But it means that law is impartial, it is impersonal, and it works for everyone. The rain falls on the just and the unjust. There was a wonderful book written by Rabbi Harold Kushner called Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? Got a lot of attention for a long time. It's a very good book. I think the more interesting question is, why do great things happen for creepy people? Admittedly, there's a little judgment in that projection. I own that. But because there is a principle that works for life. And when it is given direction by Mother Teresa or whomever, they know who they are, it will respond. Gravity is no respecter of persons. It will fly a child's balloon at a birthday, or it will drop bombs. But it's reliable and it works. And this is the gift of science of mind, that it gives us a way of working, a way of being free, a way of choosing a vision of our lives, knowing that there is nobody, there is no thing, there is no institution that takes precedence over the individual conscience Nobody. And within that idea, then I can make any choices that I choose to. And that there is something, there is some mystery. And my God, I have such reverence for the mystery itself. What it is, I do not know. We generally call it God. Adonai, which means Holy One. Allah, which means the creative principle of the universe. We generally use those three words. Brahma, or the Tao. That includes 90% of the belief system of the planet. And it is a mystery, and it is most wondrous. But it will only bless us, it will only add to us. The original Hebrew meaning of the word blessing is more life. It will only give us more life when we give it direction. And that's why mind is so important. That's why a willingness to be creative, to take on an idea from my life, is so critically important. Because we know if you don't do that, then you're going to live somebody else's life, and it will be, oh, okay. It might be okay. It might be a nightmare. But it might be perfectly okay. But you know, we actually know very little of life, and we know nothing of death, right? We do not know if we will come this way again. So if you're given an opportunity to be alive in this country at this time, why would you not make a great claim? Why would you not? Now, there is something in us that goes, yeah, that sounds great, yay, woo-hoo. But for the great mass of humanity, as soon as you're out of a supportive environment, you'll go back to waiting on line at the bank and saying, what fresh hell is this that I have to put up with? This is an opportunity. That's all I know. Life is an opportunity. Seize it. Take it. Use it. And use it by being aware that you have an opportunity. You are free. You're all capable. And every single person here today, you're capable. And you're smart. And oh so attractive. And you are ready to do something. Set fear aside. Set any kind of equivocation aside. Set aside this indecision married with a lack of vision. Pick a vision for your life. If you don't have one, I'll tell you what it is. The vision for your life is to create heaven on earth, with you right in the middle of it. And then the decisions you make are decisions that support the path you want to walk in service to the vision. How do I want to experience heaven on earth? I want to experience heaven on earth by being the creator of really interesting community theatrical events. That's how I want to do it. Why? It's none of my business. It's somebody else's vision of heaven on earth. I want to do that by being an extraordinary healer, by being a physician. I want to do that by designing and creating wonderful environments for people to live in. I want to do that by being a presenter of people who have me personally gifts to share with you with joy and a worldview that I can share with some enthusiasm after almost 30 years of thinking about this. That's how I want to do that. Is that good enough? Hell yes, that's good enough. There isn't anything else. There isn't anything else. Dr. Bitzer says, give this first step clarity. Well, the first step he's talking about is making a decision. Knowing that you are free in your conscious mind to make a decision. Get this first step clearly. You are a creative thinker. You are. You can give definite direction to your creativity. How? As a singer, as a student, as a musician, as a dancer, as an actor, as an accountant, as a real estate broker, as a everything is how you give direction to your creativity. You are a conscious creator using a law that responds. How is it responding to your direction? By, at the most amazing times, offering you assistance that astounds you, that you frankly didn't earn in consciousness. You know, life always errs in favor of itself. You always get a little more than you put in. The fellow that built Radio City Music Hall, his last name was Rothenfeld. His friends called him Roxy, and he also built the Roxy Theater in New York. But he was the builder of Radio City Music Hall. And his motto was, don't give the people what they want, give them something better. Well, that's what the mystery does for us. I can tell it what I want. And if I really am humble and in right relationship to it, willing and brave, it will give me something better than I asked for it. This is the guarantee. This is the promise of living. It only requires us to be faithful. And I know that you can do that. God bless you, friends.